Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to start using Python and install it on your computer and give you some interesting and useful knowledge along the way. The first way I'll show you to run Python is in your browser, and this will work by either sending your Python code to a remote server where some website creator will execute it for you and send you the result, or it can actually run inside your browser. So I'll show you an example of the second using the pyodide REPL. This stands for read, execute, print loop, and this is an interactive Python terminal that is provided with all installations of Python, and this just allows you to have interactive back and forth with the Python interpreter, which reads your code and answers for what you say. So an example of some valid Python code would be print 8 plus 8 inside of parentheses, and I'll hit enter, and it will print the answer 16. But something unique about the REPL is that you don't even need the print for this. So you can just say 8 plus 9 and you can just hit enter and get the answer 17. Now the first way, that is going to be more broadly compatible with the behavior of the Python that you'll write. This second way is specific to the REPL. Because you are typing in commands, it is assuming that you want the answer printed, whereas normally Python does not assume that, and you'll see that in a bit. So next we're going to go and install the Python REPL and the rest of Python onto our computer. And you can do this many ways. I'm just going to show you one. You can read about different ways to install Python depending on your operating system and your needs. But this particular way I'm going to show you is just quick and simple, and it is kind of being phased out though on Windows, where they want you to use this install manager. I'm just going to go and use the standalone installer. A quick note on Python versions. There are big different versions of Python, so there's like Python 2 and 3, and then there are smaller versions like Python 3.6 versus Python 3.14. And it's important to know those differences to some extent, because as you write code, that code will potentially get frozen in the era that you're in. So if you wrote code back in 2019, back here, you might have written Python 3.6, which may be incompatible with the current Python interpreter of 3.14. So you do need to keep in mind what version that you're running, and if you're running old code, which you probably will do if you go on to write Python in your future, then you'll need to know what Python that code is expecting to be using. So we're going to be using Python 3.14 because this is the most recent stable version, and you know that because on this chart that they keep updated, it is in the bug fix zone. So we'll download it and we'll run the installer program. So the installer program isn't the actual Python program itself, it just installs it, just like if you were to install Google Chrome or any other app. And I'm going to check this add python.exe to path. And I'll explain why that matters. So I'm going to open the terminal on Windows, and this is default. It comes with the operating system. You'll have one on Ubuntu or Mac OS as well. It'll just be a little bit different in terms of the types of commands it accepts. But in here, I can ask for Python, and by default on Windows, Python isn't installed, but it'll bring you to the Microsoft Store. And there's actually a command in PowerShell. This won't work on Mac and Linux, but there's a command here called get command. On Mac and Linux, it would be where or which would be the command. And then I'll type Python and see that when I ask for where is that Python, it'll give me the information to see it's at app data, local, Microsoft, Windows apps, etc., etc. So it's basically just a program that opens up the Windows Store to offer me to install Python. Now, conversely, I'm going to install Python into a specific location on my computer called C users N app data local programs Python 3.14. Now, why am I dwelling on this? Because programs installing to your computer is just putting the program, which is a file, into a location on your computer. And that box we checked that said add Python to our global path tells our computer that when I ask for Python by just its name, so Python like this, where do I want to look for that program? Because by default, you have to ask for programs from their entire fully qualified path, meaning you have to say C colon users slash app data, etc., etc., until you get all the way to Python. And if we had to call up every program like that, it would be a huge pain. So we add it to a path which says, hey, look in this folder when you want to find programs that I can run on my terminal or that other programs can execute. Like if I want Google Chrome to open my Microsoft Word, I need to be able to access that, for example. So now that this is installed, I won't now be able to say Python and open the new one I just installed. It's going to revert to the old one because I have to restart my terminal, because I had my terminal open while I was installing the program. That is a common challenge that you can encounter when you install new software and you run it from your terminal. So now I can run Python from my terminal, and if I use that get command that you saw earlier, if I zoom out a little bit, you'll see that get command is now going to all the way to, maybe harder to see here, but that is to that location that we had open right here. And you'll see Python is also an executable program, an exe application that I can literally just double click as if it were Google Chrome or a shortcut or Microsoft Word, and it will open a terminal right into the Python REPL like you saw on Pyadide on that website. And so this again is going to behave in a special way where if I say a noun, like 90 is like a thing, it's a number. If I say a noun, it's going to just print that noun for me. Normally Python does not print nouns. Python is about actions. So if I want it to print 90, I have to actually ask it to print 90. Let's see why that doesn't work in general. So the other way that we run Python more often is not in the REPL. We run it out of files or scripts. So to make a script, you can use almost any text editor. Most operating systems come with a text editor. So this is the Notepad on Windows, and it's just a text file. There's nothing but letters in it. Now I'm going to type some valid Python code. Like I can create a name variable. So name is a noun, and I'm going to put into that noun a different noun. And now I have done a verb. I have placed the value Nicholas into the variable name. And this does something, but it doesn't actually ask to print anything. And so you'll see that when I save this, I'm going to select all files and change the txt extension, the part after the dot, to be .py for Python. That is the conventional way. And I will call this name printer, and I'm going to use the Python conventional casing system, which is called snake case. So this will be called name underscore printer. So that is snake case for that naming. And then that is now saved to my desktop, and it is also visible here. Now if I just navigate in my terminal, I can actually quit out of this Python REPL here, make this a little bit bigger for you. If I print working directory, this will work on Mac and Linux terminals too. If I print my working directory with pwd, I'll see that I'm in my home directory, which is CUsersN, and I can cd or change directory into my desktop folder, which is directly inside of my home folder. So I will cd into my / my current directory where I am, down into the downloads or the desktop. And I just have to type DE and hit tab because that's the only thing that starts with DE in the current folder. So I can hit enter, and I am now changed into that. And if I pwd, I am printing working directory of desktop now. And if I ls to list what's in there, I will see my name printer.py. Now I can run Python, and instead of just running it with no arguments, they're called, I can hit a space, and then I can give the name of the file. Since there's nothing in there, I can actually just hit tab right here, or I guess I have to at least put an N and then hit tab. It will complete to nameprinter.py. And if I hit enter, it will run that file. So what's happening there is it's taking my file and it's interpreting it as a script. A script, you can think about like a play script or a movie script. This is something that you don't read it from back to front. You don't read it from inside to the edges. You read it from the top line of the script to the bottom. And that's how Python is run. And what I was mentioning about like nouns and verbs is that Python is action oriented. It wants to take in your commands and take those actions on your behalf. So if you just say nouns, that's not very productive. Like if I was trying to tell you how to get to Washington and Lee University, and I told you Interstate I-81. Yep, okay, that is a thing. That is a noun. What about it? But if I said starting from exit such and such, merge onto Interstate I-81. Now that is an action that you can follow and you can take, and Python works the same way. So if I just say name equals Nicholas, that is an action. Python will say put Nicholas into name, but I haven't given it an action related to printing that name. So if I just say name, Python's going to go, okay, name is Nicholas. All right, cool. Okay, name. Yep, name's a thing. And then when I run this program again, after, of course, I saved the file, so you see this dot up here means it's not saved. Another common mistake, make sure you save your file before you run it. Control S will do that, or Command S on the Mac, and then the file save menu will also do it. So if I run this, I'm still not going to see it print. And that's what I was mentioning about the REPL is different in terms of its behavior. So if I just say Python and then I say name equals n and I say name, it will print n. So why that difference? Again, it's because the purpose of the REPL is to print your nouns, whereas Python scripts in general only print your nouns when you ask them to. So what that would mean is I have to ask for an action, do the print action, and do it on my name, and then save the file with Control S and Control D to get out of the REPL, up arrow twice in my terminal to get the command, hit enter, and I see Nicholas prints out there. So that's an important difference to keep in mind with the REPL versus running Python scripts. And these scripts can get even longer. I can copy this code and write this, and you're just going to see it's going to execute those lines one by one by one. So if I change Nicholas to Randy and save it, you should expect to see Nicholas print out, then Nicholas, well actually here's the line where it happens, Nicholas, Nicholas, Randy, Nicholas, Nicholas. And that's essentially called tracing code, where we're mentally following what the computer is going to do, because it's going to happen in the blink of an eye in most cases. So right there you see exactly what I expected to happen happened. Now last thing I'll mention is why would you use the REPL? It seems like if most people write their code in Python scripts, in files, why would we ever want to use this like interactive thing? Well, it's because Python is a pretty intuitive language, and sometimes you just want to do quick things. Like you literally just want to do, like, I don't know the answer to this math problem off the top of my head, but maybe I want to just use it like a calculator. Or I want to use it like a fancy calculator, and I want to do something a little bit more interesting than most four-function calculators can do. Like maybe I want to take a Wikipedia article. So Wiki Abe Lincoln. And I want to know like how many letters are in this first paragraph. Like what's a typical Wikipedia article's first paragraph length? So I copy that, and I can use a built-in function in Python called length. So this takes the length of a string. A string is a string of letters, meaning letters that come one after the other, and we put those in quotes, and len is a function that returns the length as a number of a particular string. So if I put nn, you should see the length is 2, and if I replace that with this full text of Wikipedia paragraph, it's going to say 698. So now I just counted the number of letters, not words, in that paragraph there. And that's why you might want to use the REPL. But for the most part, again, you're going to need to use Python script files, which are just text files that you save to your computer, and then you tell the name or the location of that file to Python, and it goes through and takes the actions in your Python script one by one, top to bottom. So that concludes this video. Thank you for watching.